What's up, everybody? We're back, and we're ready for the winner's match, and this is going to be one that is a timeless match here. Rogue versus Maru. How many times have we had the pleasure of seeing these two guys go at it? Maru, I would normally say he probably has the upper hand. He's been in basically fairly consistently God-tier condition.
Yeah, for like more than a decade, basically, right?
Excuse me, yeah, for like more than a decade, right? So, Rogue, I mean, he did make a door with the Spore.
Made a door with a Spore.
He's a bit of a Spore door guy. No, look, I mean, Rogue is looking really strong.
Yeah, he had a fantastic series there against Nightmare. And, again, with Maru, I hate to bring it all the way back to him being injured and skipping some tournaments, but there are still some questions about exactly his form. I'm sure that, a lot of Terran players, especially in the past, like Yun comes to mind, have had these stretches where, whether it be wrist pain, elbow pain, shoulder pain, something, usually with the mouse hand, it's hard for them to put in the hours that they need to maintain their form. And Maru is one of the hardest working StarCraft 2 pro gamers we've ever had.
Yeah.
And it is paid dividends with championship after championship. This guy is a legend, but eventually that starts to take a toll. And we didn't really get to see exactly what Maru's ceiling was at in that opening series against Trigger, but I feel like him going up against Rogue now in the winner's match of Group B, we're going to have a much better idea of where he's at in GSL. Let's get started.
In the top right is Rogue. Bottom left, Maru. I almost went to old GSL mode. I was, what the, what?
Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa. I'm like one of these birds is just conditioned to do a certain thing. Like, I'm like a trained dolphin over here. I almost went back into the old GSL casting style. That was weird. So yeah, man, let's see what happens this time around. Rogue going for a fast pool. Wow.
Is this going to be CC first with a fast pool? Oh, boy.
Well, we almost never get to talk about this, but there are some builds that will just, like, you could be, like a Gold League player and and do this versus the best player in the world, and you will be killed. Take him down.
Man, that ghost looks awesome.
Yeah.
What a cool drawing. Is this CC first and a gas first? Oh, boy.
Wow. How much more greedy could this be? It's like into a second gas first. I'm like, what?
There's in a third command center.
GSL over Tom Cruise, I agree. And just like Tom Cruise, I also do all my own stunts in this show.
It's true.
This is true. You think when the battles happen, you think they get a caster double in here to do that? Not me, no. I know I could get injured, but I do it for the art form. So sixlings are going to come, and I'm very interested in seeing what Maru's going to do versus this. We need to see if the Lings are literally going to go all the way across the map or not.
I think they will, but my intuition is telling me the command center is going to be done.
Yeah.
And he should be able to lift to the main, but there will be a supply depot that goes down, and obviously you cannot repair a supply depot while it's being constructed. So
right.
Things might get a little bit tricky here for Maru.
But this is just going to be
first Marine.
It's going to be so good for the opening here.
Yeah, this is
like.
Oh, those Lings got to go, man.
Move them.
Hello?
Move them! Oh my God, I'm losing my mind.
Is he always waiting for the? Oh, he's baiting the Marine with the Overlord. He's smarter than the casters. That's why he's playing more casting.
That's almost never happened before.
Oh, but Maru actually with some. Wow, the body blocks right there are the SCVs. He doesn't even get the Marine, man. I was expecting like a lift or something and some more SCVs going down, but look at this control from Maru. Only 2 SCVs going down. 2 of these Lings are already in the red. Third command center going down. I mean, it's not like going Nexus first against Zerg where you're at risk of dying against an early pool like this one, but that was some really nice body blocking with those SCVs. That Marine dished out way more damage than it by rights should have been able to do. I don't know why I was scared for Maru, man. This guy is he's just the best.
Yeah, I mean, that was like water off a duck's back. Well, I mean, he was slowed down a little bit. we're getting about 10 more drones here from Rogue, so he's really ramping up his production.
I love this double engineering,
eBay.
double eBay. So wait, we got CC first,
into
gas first, into barracks, into third CC, into double eBay. I wonder if this is going to culminate, because do you remember, I want to say this is like 3 years ago with us casting GSL, there was this stretch of 2 or 3 seasons where TBZ almost felt like a coin flip in terms of, not like a balanced coin flip, but what the Terran was going to do, where they were 50-50 in terms of going CC first into like an 8 barracks all in. And usually when it happened, it was like a 90% plus win rate. Like if the Zerg couldn't do something to slow it down. And then it just kind of fell off the meta. I think Zergs, over one of the off seasons, got better at kind of figuring this out and learning how to deal with this build. But I wonder if Maru, with all of this extreme early game greed, is going to be building up to just like some insane 2-2 timing or something like that. Because eventually there's going to be a stretch where this is going to pay off a bunch. Okay, some nice control there with Ro again pulling those drones. Lesser player would have lost a lot more against those opening Hellions. Instead, only 2 of them going down. But for Maru, I'm imagining over these next couple of minutes, his supply is really going to start to balloon. And I'm curious how quickly he's going to be adding in the additional barracks and if that is his game plan to go for some kind of killer push.
Yeah, well, there's definitely going to be a really, really strong push coming. I mean, one of the probably strongest pushes you could have in the game, with minus the fact that the Lynx did slow down Maru a little bit. But this is one of these builds where I'm like, this is so greedy and so complete, and you trying to cut every corner possible. Like, he'll probably attack at 2-2 because he doesn't have anything to work with at 1-1. Like, his barracks are literally about to finish, and so is 1-1. But the 2-2, or even, you know, the quicker 3-3 is going to be insane.
Yeah. I'm just watching that production tab. I'm waiting to see like 2 or 3 more barracks if they get thrown down. I think Maru, I didn't get a good look at the base. I believe it's 5 racks at this moment. And I want to see what path he takes. Because Rogue, he was able to slow down Maru, you know, not significantly, but enough to hiccup the build a bit. And actually, hold that thought, Tasteless. It's Rogue pulling the trigger first. Tons of roaches coming out with +1 carapace.
Yeah. Now, let's see how this does. I mean, you know, Maru's not where he like needs to be, so to speak, as far as mustering an army. I mean, when you go for a fast command center, you go for fast gas, you go for fast eBays, what you're giving up is the units you would normally have early on to do, you know, pokes or a scout or harass. So all the barracks are just now done, but the roaches are going to come down here like a sledgehammer, and they're probably going to force this command center to lift off. We don't even have any medevacs in the game yet. Yeah, there's 2 that are about to come out, but just, you know, for some emphasis here, that's how greedy Maru was. So let's see how this roach timing actually does.
+1 carapace and roach speed going to be finishing at basically the same time here for Rogue. Now Maru with these Hellions is scouting the push, 3 more barracks in production, so Maru eventually, he's going to start ramping up that production, but as soon as his +1 carapace hits, that +1 attack advantage that Maru has on the Marines, they're going to be tickling the roaches again. It's a big difference having an upgrade advantage versus equal upgrades. Carapace just now finishing the moment that Rogue pounces on this third base. Stim coming in, only 1 Marauder adding in DPS against the armored units here. And a lot of SCVs falling already, 7. There is 1 siege tank here in the natural expansion, but Maru's certainly going to have to forfeit the third base. He's going to have to forfeit all the depots there on the ground.
Yeah, and this is going to be a supply block now.
Wow.
And I don't think he needs to do more than this. Is he going to try to force his way in? You know, 3 Ravager shots will kill a tank. So what he's going to do is he's just going to take the depots out. Is he going to go try to take 1 more in here before he tries to shove? There's a double drop coming in here onto the side.
Rogue is not transitioning out of this, by the way. He is not going back into drone production. He's just queuing up more roaches. 12 more roaches just queued. I love this move by Maru going for the counterattack, but Rogue recognizes that means there isn't a lot here in the front. Biles connect with the tanks. 1 of them goes down, but with this arc, Maru barely hanging on here in the natural expansion. He loses a ton of SCVs. Focused by right now on the roaches there, the siege tank maximizing the damage, and by a thread, he is holding on just before 2-2 finishes, but on Rogue's side of the map, the double drop, yes, he did kill a hatchery, but Rogue is still sitting at 63 drones. I don't know if Maru's be able to get enough momentum to push forward.
Yeah, well, this drop can be stopped, right?
I mean, 2-2 is done now, so it's going to trade a lot better here with these roaches, but still, there's so much coming in here from Rogue. I think Maru might have been expecting Rogue to maybe even transition a little bit to the drones, but no, it's just more army coming out. even now, even in this moment, 10 more roaches, 12 more roaches getting queued.
Good lord, these 2-2 Marines are so strong.
That's a big difference.
It's so unnatural looking watching them just plow through this. The problem, though, is that, I mean, once Rogue winds up, you know, the next attack, it should be really hard for Maru to stop. Maru's not on 3 bases. He lost a lot of SCVs. He's on 36 workers. Now, Rogue isn't all in, but he's definitely trying to end the game right now. He's not invested in anything in the future other than this extra hatchery, which I think he just had the minerals for. So he just sort of throws this down here.
I don't know if he can actually break Maru, though. As long as Maru is sitting on the 2 bases and he doesn't try and go out to that 3rd, I don't think that Rogue can push through this very small angle of attack with the siege tanks all the way in the back and stop a Maru that has 2-2.
Barely anything mining as far as gas goes.
And with the upgrade advantage, Maru is eventually going to outscale Rogue. Roaches and Ravagers, they power spike early, but as soon as Maru starts to get close to triple-digit army supply, those Roaches and Ravagers, they're going to melt. And let's not forget, it's not just 2-2. 3-3 is on the way now for Maru. And yes, he did lose a lot of SCVs, but that 3rd orbital, this entire time, it has been reproducing those SCVs. So the mining for Maru, he's only just a pace behind Rogue. It's 2K to 2.5K right now on the board. There is a world where Maru, if he can weather the storm for the next couple of minutes, is just able to outclass the army of Rogue because it is just Roach Ravager.
Okay, shuts down that medevac. Yeah, you might be right, State. Like, it might be as dramatic as that attack was and as scary as it was for Maru, like, you know, he's going to have a better army. When you see Roach Ravager, you have to realize when they get that many, they don't generally have a plan for later on. These units are cost too much supply and are not good compared to, like, you know, Marines with 3-3 as an example. He's throwing Spore Crawlers down everywhere. Maru did a really good job with the harass. It's kind of incredible to see someone hang on versus maxed out Zerg for this long.
I mean, 2 Marines going after drones and with +2 upgrades almost feels like 2 Oracles going after drones, you know?
Right.
They laser him down so quick.
By the way, we're only just now going to have this 3rd base land as 3-3 is close to finishing. So, you know, basically Rogue couldn't attack in on the 2 bases because of the turtle position. That might be different once his 3rd base is down here. There might be a wide open target that you know, he wants to try to take on.
Yeah, I think Rogue might try to seize the moment, but
a lot of tanks down here.
Yeah, and it's mostly a Roach army. There are only 5 Ravagers on the board.
It's 3 Ravager shots to kill a tank. The Ravager shots, by the way, earlier were like weirdly staggered.
I think
normally
it's
you see like 3, like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, they just couldn't get in range. They were just maybe like half a range away from hitting it all at the same time because it's such an awkward choke to push in. But now Rogue coming in with a 360 surround. Will he have enough? 3-3 just now finishing here for Maru. So these Marines packing such a punch. And the class of this army that Maru's got, even with a +2 Carapace coming in from
it's
Rogue.
Crazy. Like, I think that there's a world where Rogue can lose this game. It's like, oh my God, he's going to counter push. Dude, I think actually Maru might win this game.
Dude, it's the upgrades.
He's going to get Banes. He's going to get Banes, but like, you know, Maru has no problem kiting Banes.
Yeah, Maru was basically on the brink of death, but he barely survived, and now all of that early greed.
There's so many Ravagers morphing, which is going to give him a lot of time to set this up. He's going to fan the tanks out. He's going for this hatchery.
All right, Maru pushing in. That's a really big concave there for Rogue. Some nice dodges there on the bios. There are so many siege tanks, though.
The Banes are just literally not getting close to anything.
Look at the fire on the Banelings. Maru gets basically every single one of them.
Did he just win? I think he just won the game.
Dude,
what?
So sick.
This is hilarious. Oh my God. I can't believe this.
68 army supply to 48. Maru at 34.
He's a legend. He's such a legend. This is so sick.
I love you, Maru.
Oh my God. I can't believe how good this is. Drones are being pulled.
You know, Rogue just, more Roaches and Ravagers coming in. Baneling speed only just now finishing. It's like every single Marine and Marauder here is a personal medevac. And even though the economy right now for Maru is not great, the army's just so strong.
I mean, now Rogue has shrunk down to Maru's size and supply, but Maru's going to be pumping on these 3 bases.
It is so scrappy. We have more medevacs than bio, it feels like, here on the ground.
He's stimming Marines across the map.
Yeah, Marines being produced 12 at a time. There are only 19 Marines in total on the board. And Maru very wisely now at the 12 o'clock position will be going after these drones. He takes down that hatchery, able to kill a lot more workers here, kiting forward again. Don't want to get a little bit too ambitious here, Maru. There is a world still where Rogue is able to focus down enough of this bio that he can stabilize because the firepower is slowing down. Now the 75 army supply here for Maru is a little bit disingenuous because 12 of it is in Medivacs, right? The actual DPS of the army isn't that high in this moment, but give Maru like 1 more minute to muster up a couple Liberators, a lot more Marines and Marauders, and Rogue is going to be hard-pressed to fight this army again. What a crazy game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Rogue's hanging on, but it's really hard to imagine him winning this. God, this base is so abusable, by the way. Oh my God.
Some nice files, though. I think another siege tank went down there on the flank, and now Rogue going to try and come here on the right side. A lot of movement here for Maru to be able to kite back. Going to focus fire on the Ravagers. GG is called. Rogue trying to hold on, but Maru stealing the show. From the brink of death back at home, where he had like less than a dozen Marines, maybe 1 or 2 siege tanks, just trying to stop with the full SCV pull, that push of the natural expansion. And then finally when 3-3 kicks in, he's like, okay, now is my time.
Yeah.
That's what those double engineering bays were for.
That was like a real, I think the word teachable moment is lame, but it is like, if you want to learn about the game, and like I'm sure there's people that watch and they don't really understand, like why does, sometimes I see roaches, sometimes I see Ling Bane, right? Like, the roaches are there to smother the other player and knock him out of the game before he can get that tech.
Yeah.
The 3-3 Marines with medevacs and tanks is a better late game comp. It scales much better than, let's say Roach Ravager. And so the fact that Maru survived that kind of all-in attack and turtled back, giving up his third base, and just kept powering up, it made Rogue obsolete in the late game. That's exactly what we saw. We saw him trying to get Banelings too little too late. Now Maru up with a 1-0 lead. One of my favorite games I've seen, by the way.
Yeah.
That
Best one so far this season.
Okay, Rogue in the bottom left, Maru in the top right. I was thinking back, I can't remember which finals it was because I've just casted too many GSL games, but I remember one GSL finals, and it was Maru versus Rogue. And I was really curious how Rogue was going to approach it because Maru just didn't look beatable in the matchup. And then every game, Rogue just went for Roach Ravager and won. And it was like, it was so interesting to see because I'm like, oh, I guess these guys played each other so much. Rogue just seems to understand that Maru seems to have a hard time with this. And when I saw that it happened in this game, I thought, yeah, maybe he's going to try this out again. But clearly, Maru is very much improved on that.
I think on a different map, that push could have worked. But it was just such an awkward choke point to push in.
Yeah, it is a pretty tight bottleneck.
I hope both teams have fun. Oh, yeah.
Well, Rogue didn't, but yeah.
He did for a couple minutes, and then Maru got to have
He enjoyed most
fun.
of the game until he died.
Oh. Yeah, that was just, that's just classic Maru right there. I love that so much, that game. Because he recognizes, Maru is one of the best players in the world at just identifying the win condition. I feel like this is a skill that doesn't get talked about very much, but you put most players, not even just pro gamers, but like you put like a semi-pro in that kind of position there as Terran, where they're basically on death's door. They're surviving this push from Rogue. Rogue is on 4 bases. There's a maxed Roach Ravager army. And you just have kind of this shell of a forest defending your homeland back on your side of the map. A lot of players would see that situation and maybe even write themselves off. But Maru recognizes this. He's just so good at getting a read that he's like, you know what? There is a window. I get 3-3. That is my power spike. By then, I will be close to max. By then, Rogue, who's on Roaches and Ravagers, who are 2 very supply-inefficient units, is going to be at a low point in his tech. And he capitalized on it and wins a beautiful comeback game. I mean, he must have lost like 30 SCVs, if not more, in that match.
It was a lot, man. It was like close to half of his workers for a little bit there. Kind of crazy to see that the Overlord got sniped.
Yeah.
The player of the caliber of these two.
mean, there's so many little meta games that happen, especially when map pools get rotated like this.
You know, it's something we don't talk about a lot, but it's like one of the first things you have to learn when you get to like a pretty high level is like, okay, like where do they actually scout and where can they hide overlords and not hide overlords, and how long does it take to get there? And that's how you end up with, you know, a game like this one where Maru's able to get a jab in pretty early and take that out.
Yeah, anything you can slow down the early game zero economy is good. It's a very snowball-y eco that Zerg's got. And coming in for Maru now, not quite the same greed we saw in game number 1. He's going into Hellions. Rapid Starport, pretty fast stim as well. No third CC, no engineering bays. And Liberators too. Huh. I'm very interested in what these Marines are going to be doing. We got 2 or 3 Marines just kind of parked themselves outside the third base of Rogue and are only just now coming home. And the Hellions, can you get a body block? Oh, you're so good, Rogue. The Spore Doorman strikes again.
I need some ID, sir.
Wow.
Damn.
Those queens just shimmied into like 2 of the best body blocks.
That's especially hard to do in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, queens are a little bit funky.
Dota, Warcraft 3, Brood War, where the units are a little bit more, I guess they have like sharper edges. Yeah. So they can kind of get stuck on each other.
Queens are clumsy
StarCraft 2, I mean, things are very slippery. So like that's really, really impressive. Oh, he's making a Spore. He's going to make it for a door.
And we have Roaches in production here for Rogue as well. 46 drones in total. I really want to see the production tab and see exactly what Rogue's game plan is going to be here because, you know, we have Maru. We didn't touch on this quite yet, but he's going for this low ground wall, something that Beyond popularized a long time ago with the Reaper opening. Maru now incorporating, even without the Reaper opening, here in the early game. But it is a potential point of contention for the Zerg with Roaches and Ravagers, where you can get a lot more value than you could say in the previous game, where it was just supply depots there for Maru. But for Rogue, it seems like instead, just kind of focusing on getting enough Roaches to stabilize the defense back at home and macro up. He's going into Laratech, he's putting out even more drones, adding in 4 additional gas geysers. It's a lot of gas, Tasteless.
It's a lot of gas, you're right.
Huh.
Yeah. Let's see what he wants to do with that. Excuse me. Let's see what he wants to do with that here. Rogue this game, he's getting armor and missiles. So, I mean, that's a nod to more Roaches this time around. He's going to try to stick with the Roach Ravager play, which makes me want to look at where the third base for the Terran is going to be and how well it can be defended. Because when you see Roaches and Ravagers, it means there's going to be an attack early. It's inherently not an investment in a super long late game.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that, but we just had an Infestation Pit and a Hydralisk Den get thrown down here from Rogue. So I wonder if this is going to be something more like a Roach Hydra with some Infestors, maybe?
I think I was being too deterministic in the game. You're right. You're right. It could absolutely be that if there's a Hydra Den coming down here. I just saw some Roaches running around, and then I saw the missile upgrade, and I'm like, aha!
All right, Roach is now here at the third base. It's fourth base, excuse me. By the way, Rogue a lot better with the upgrade timing just because Maru wasn't quite so greedy. Oh, look at these Hellions! Nothing over there to stop. That's a lot of drones going down. Yeah. Is he going to get the 6th one? Oh, he wants it.
He needs to make like 8 spores up above that place so he can wall it off. We already know the answer to this.
Just spore door everything,
just spores everywhere.
But yeah, the upgrade differential that played to Maru's advantage there in game number 1, excuse me, is not really going to culminate here in game number 2. It might be like a 5-second difference between the timing of ranged weapons and Carapace for Zerg and 1-1 here for the Terran. So the Roaches on the ground, they should fare a lot better here against the Fireball that Maru's going to have. And it's such a treat to watch these guys play again, especially with Rogue looking actually really good so far today. I mean, these Hellions, this fourth base has been such a weak point in defense. It's surprising. I think in total that's maybe double-digit drones that have gone down.
Yeah. Wow. It's been quite a bit. So we're going to be in, well, hold on, he's making a couple more Roaches now.
Yeah, and a Lurker Den.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. Huh. Lurkers have been pretty hot this season, by the way. I know we're, early on here in this GSL, but, like, they've been looking pretty good. They've been making waves here. So it's going to be kind of a slow game for a little bit here. Both sides are really macroing up. Maru's going to try to come in here for yet another drop, but this is more of a creep sweeping move. Especially if you're fighting roaches, you just sort of ignore them. You take whatever fights you can, and then when they get too close, you do exactly this. You pick up and you run away.
I like Rogue almost going for the blind spots there with the biles. It's hard to see them on like the doodads, the trees in the corner. He was like, well, maybe I can catch one of these medevacs. Love that little technique. Maru, unfortunately, able to evade that there, so Rogue only doing a little bit of damage to the airships. And now Maru actually moving across the map, so I don't think we have a 4th command center in production just yet. I think this might just be something like an 8 racks push coming in here from Maru. 3 Marauders in production, 6 Marines, more siege tanks.
He drives him back there.
Yeah, he is gunning for that 3rd base. Maru, with this little force here in the middle, is just trying to distract Rogue a little bit by feigning really his attention on the creep spread and then pouncing on this position here at the 3rd. And Rogue only just now going to realize that's a little bit too late to form a door. And now the siege tanks are already positioned by this hatchery. Excellent maneuvering here by Maru. This hatchery basically dead to rights. Rogue going to be reset down to a 3-base economy. He is expanding to the 9 o'clock position. And Lurkers are on the field. But actually, Seismic Spine's coming in so fast. That's a fast high tech here from Rogue, too. But the Infestation Pit and also being down here at the 3rd base. Quite a bit of tech going down for Zerg.
We got to see how exactly Rogue's going to fend this off. Losing the base already is terrible. Yeah, by the way. Like, this is not going to be a sustainable situation. And we're already in a position where the tanks are pretty well... Like, I love the fact that he's even got this little attack coming up here. I thought the tank would be sieged up. He's going to siege that up now. Oh my god! Wow. The dive is just insane!
What a concave.
Yeah, dude. Did not blink at those Lurkers at all. He's like, I have exactly the right angle here. He's leapfrogging the tanks. The Lurkers are going to try to sandbag the push again. Oh, what's up? He pulls him in, but weirdly, that actually kind of allows the infantry to come in.
Yeah, it's
that
kind
was
of funny,
actually kind of his self-owned. That was like, whoa. Okay, so
hoisted by his own petard.
All right, hold on. I want to explain. I want to explain what happened there because that was. I almost never get to see anything like that in a game. He pulled the 2 tanks in, which is like, okay, now you can't break my position, right? The Lurkers target the tanks. Now the Marines can dive onto the Lurkers. And you can see both of them kind of laughing and talking about what just happened back there. That was a very, very unusual situation.
That was a funny little fight we had right there at the end.
It was a bit of a kind of like stepping on a rake and it comes and hits you in the face. You know what I mean? There was a little bit of slapstick with what happened in that moment.
Almost a Looney Tunes moment. Well,
that was very, very unusual. We're going to go to an interview, I think. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we are.
Oh, it's us doing it. Yeah. Congratulations, Maru. Maru says thank you. Well, Maru, you were on fire. How do you feel going into the quarterfinals? Well, you know, it was a tough fight, but I'm very happy to make it into the quarterfinals with a 4-0. So, Maru, you'll be heading into Group B with Gumiho and Classic. So, how do you feel about your odds against those opponents? Well, I don't feel like I can really regain my old form here, but I feel like I'm getting better, so I think I should have a good chance. So in the winner's match, you played up against Rogue. It must have felt like a tough matchup going into it. How did you feel in the moment? Well, honestly, when Rogue went for that initial attack in game number 1, I was feeling stressed, but when the attack eventually fizzled out, I realized I could actually make it. I had a path to victory. And so, do you have any words to say about GSL? Anything you want to say to the fans now that we're back here in the studio? And Maru, of course, being very gracious. Welcome, everybody, for coming down. And now the casters are asking, what are your goals for this GSL? Are you looking for yet another GSL trophy? Do you think you're going to have a path to another championship? And I think Maru is actually saying that Protoss these days seems to be doing quite well, so might be a tough road for him there in the round of 8.
좋은 모습 보여드리도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
And he's gonna try his best to show good games for his fans. Tasteless.
I didn't see it coming, State.
Yeah, man, I was a little bit caught off guard right there with the interview. I wasn't expecting us to try and do that thing.
We don't have a translator today.
Yeah, that was
we gotta do it.
maybe not the best iteration of the post-game interview that we've done, but I mean, we had a long off season.
We'll try to show great interviews for our fans next time. All right. Also, we think Protoss is too strong.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks Protoss is too strong. They're never winning our tournament.
They just suck,
It just goes
man.
on forever. It just goes on forever. Like,
they're just not
well,
as
they're
good,
so strong. Why don't they just win?
Tasteless.
Why don't they win everything?
They're just
Why
not
do we
as
have these
good,
tournaments if
Tasteless.
actually there's some objective reality you guys all see that can't happen here? We'll be right back.